Welcome to the General Epistles Bible class on James. This is the Guido Bible College, and I'm Terry Clyde, your instructor for this session. I want to talk about the authorship and audience of the book of James. The original language, the author's name was Jacob. If you look at that, I've actually got a copy here of a Greek Bible, and you can see that it's Jacob instead of James. The name became James as it became more westernized. That is okay. Will have no theological significance for us. I just found it interesting and thought I'd share that with you. The James that we're talking about, the author of this book, was probably James, the brother of Jesus. Now here are some of the reasons why we think it was James, the brother of Jesus. The author was important enough to just use the name James. He didn't have to say James, son of, or father of, or any other designation, just James. And there were 4 Jameses mentioned in the New Testament. 2 were too obscure to be recognized by just their first name. In fact, you may not even be able to remember more than just a couple, but we will make a reference to 2. James the Apostle, which some would think had written the letter of James, was actually killed by the time that letter was written. And for a reference, you can look in Acts 12 and verse 2. The brother of Jesus, however, although he had not been a believer before or in the early ministry of Jesus, became a believer after the resurrection. And you can find those references on your chart here. And extra biblical sources say that James, the brother of Jesus, was a man of prayer. In fact, he was said to have camel's knees from kneeling and praying so much. We get this from Eusebius's Ecclesiastical History. Church councils met in Rome in AD 382 and Carthage in 397. Both accepted James as scripture. This acceptance gives support to the view that James, the Lord's brother, was the author. It's unlikely that an obscure, unknown James would have had his work so readily accepted by the early church. I want to look a little bit at the content of the book of James. James says to the scattered tribes. We know they're primarily Jewish readers. He says to the 12 tribes which are scattered. It's not given any specific location, though, so this is an open letter to those Jewish readers anywhere. The content of the book of James is similar to Old Testament wisdom literature. It's been called the New Testament book of Proverbs by many scholars, and chapter 1 begins the tone of being strong as a person, not having a split focus. It talks about temptations, and it talks about a double-minded man being unstable in all of his ways. So there's a strong focus on enduring temptations and trials. The whole book has a strong ethical tone. Much of the tone of the letter is imperative. He talks about what you should do and how it should be done, and the verb tones are strong. Believe, do. The be strong element is there. He talks about personal morality and social justice, and that's a strong emphasis on both of those throughout the book. Faith and works is a major topic, especially in chapter 2. James makes a strong statement about these, saying, even so, faith without works is dead, being alone, meaning that if you have faith, it will show in your behavior. He also talks about the sin of omission. He says it's not enough just to not do evil. James 4:17 clearly says that those who know to do good and do not do it sin. And he also makes a strong imperative statement about the importance of prayer. The final passages encourage an active prayer life. A strong, focused prayer is important and effective. In fact, he says, the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. James is a strong book, worthy of our attention, worthy of our reading, and very, very strong in moral content. I hope you'll read it, and I hope you'll take it to heart.